Hello guys, today I will be explaining if statements in Python. Okay, let's get started. So, an if statement in Python is a sort of condition. If you want something to happen and then something in response to that happening, you need an if statement. So if I were to say, like in my last video, I did prints and integer and inputs. So if I were to do print hello. No, this does not help. Input. If I were to do input, what is your name? So they would give an answer, right? Well, nothing would happen. But this is where if statements come in. So first, you need to put a variable onto the input. It does not matter what the name is. You can name it anything, but how you put it on is anything equals and then what it is. So A equals what is your name as an input. So whenever you print A, it will use the input what is your name. So that is how it works. So you just put in your name. There, that's it. Just like in the last video. But if you do if, this is where the if statements come in. If A equals if A equals. What this means is if what the answer they give, A is equal to what their answer is, if A is equal to. When you have two equal signs, that means it's kind of like a conditional. So if A equals, don't forget parentheses, because what they're typing in is what they're saying. If A equals cov1 boss, and you put in a colon at all times. A colon is how it ends the statement. If A equals cov1 boss. That means if I put in the name cov1 boss, it will do something. It will say print happy birthday. So that means that they'll ask me my name. And if I put in cov1 boss, it will say happy birthday. But if it says anything else, nothing will happen. So let's see if I do cov1 boss. It will say happy birthday. But if I say something like Jason, then nothing will happen because it doesn't have anything else. This is where another if statement is. Now this is something most people won't know what it is, but I'm going to teach it. So it's elif. Elif in Python code is an if statement, except you can't have two ifs. You have to have if, and this is an else if, which is basically elif. It's another if statement. So if I have elif, which is basically if, it's just if a oh else. What an else statement is if it's not cov1 boss. That means A equals input, what is your name? If they type in cov1 boss, it will print happy birthday. But if it does not print it, it will say input when is your birthday. Does not matter what you say. So that is an else statement. But you're probably wondering what I was talking about before. What is an elif? I don't understand. Why can't you have two if statements? Well, that's just not how Python works. So if you were to have two if statements next to each other, you just got to do elif. It's not even that problem. It's el. It's not that hard. So elif A equals Jason. If it's Jason, then it will say input how old are you? See, you probably were following along, but then you got lost. halfway, so I'm going to make it very simple. A equals input. That means they tell you what their name is. What is your name? They answer. If the answer that they put in is Kobe One Boss, for example, then the computer will say happy birthday. But if they say Jason instead of Kobe One Boss, then it will say how old are you? But if they do not say Kobe One Boss or Jason, they will ask when is your birthday. So why don't we test it? If I type in Kobe One Boss, it will say happy birthday. If I type in Jason, it will type in how old are you, and I will say 2. If I say anything else, like if I say my name is Brian or Eric or literally anything, then it will ask me when my birthday is. An else statement, just like anything else, like an if statement or an elif, it's the opposite of an if statement though. It's if it is not. So it's kind of self-explanatory anyway, because it's just else. So thank you for watching. I hope you learned something, and I think I had bad outros, but goodbye.